Hey everyone, we're back. We had a little technical issue with the last
You
live
mean
video,
we?
so that's why this is a part two. I did. I live in an old 1920s house in Hollywood, and my breaker blew because it's a hot day and it tends to do that. So you'll see TV in the background is out. And anyway, let us move on to Arrow and finish this thing out. Let's talk about the Arrow finale. I was pleasantly surprised with this Arrow finale. I love that we brought the flashbacks up to speed with season one. I love that we got Deathstroke. I loved the sacrifice that Merlin made. It was a crazy ending with the dead switch going off and kind of Rivero is stranded on an island now, and Oliver is hoping that they're all alive. What did you think of this finale? Because this to me was kind of the crowning jewel of all of these episodes.
The first thing I thought of is where you could go if you actually did kill off all these characters.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, you could actually start the Green Arrow.
Yes. Yeah, you could bring it to the comic books now. It's true. It's true. You could. Uh, yeah, Felicity's gone, Diggle's gone. Uh, Basically everybody. You would assume that Talia survives because she's Talia.
I'm pretty sure Merlin survived too.
Makes sense. And Captain Boomerang. Yeah, we got more Captain Boomerang. Like there was so much about this episode that I thought was really good. But you're right. It would be crazy to just wipe the rest of the cast away and start over as like the Green Arrow from the comics.
Yep.
What would that
It
show
would
look like to you?
be fairly interesting. I mean, you flash forward a couple of, maybe a year or so. And because remember the mother of his son was also on that island too. So now he's the ward of this kid who could grow up to become Speedy.
That's true. Like the real. Oh, yeah. I don't know. I mean, look, they're not dead, right? Like, maybe some
I
of
know
them
it's wishful
are gone.
thinking. It's wishful thinking on my part.
Yeah. I think female Speedy is still alive and kicking. I would be surprised if we lost anyone in this seeming massacre. But just the episode as a whole, I just thought was really good. Like it was one of my favorite episodes of Arrow since maybe you know like season 2 Arrow. Like I really liked this episode. Um, did it strike you as kind of a redeeming episode for the rest of the season in a way? Like it maybe not, it didn't redeem the whole season, right? But I just thought it was excellent.
It reminded me a lot of the assault on Ra's al Ghul's temple in order to go
Oh,
and rescue Oliver. Remember when Diggle and
I
all
liked
them?
this a lot better, but I can see that it was a big episode like that. That's
Yeah,
true.
it actually had the same feeling. I mean, they fought a whole bunch of ninjas, and all that kind of stuff. And
I don't know. I felt like that one was more of like a lead into Legends of Tomorrow than it was like a wrap up of Arrow.
well,
With
no,
like
because it ends with Oliver fighting Ra's and getting stabbed through the heart and then falling off the mountain.
that's true. That's true.
So he died,
Opposite, right?
in that
Where
one.
he's the only one that's yeah.
Yeah.
You could like I don't know what's more believable, right? Like killing your main character or killing your entire cast except your main character. And I feel like that they might need to find some sort of in between. But that said, uh the visuals in this episode were spectacular. Like the all the bombs going off on the island and aside from a couple fights that I thought looked a little cheesy, I just felt like the episode looked really good. And every character kind of had a moment to shine, which I liked, and it was like the best of each character, not the worst of each character, and I
Well,
liked that.
I thought it was kind of funny when we saw them running through the woods, them being Deathstroke and Oliver, and they're running towards the boat. And you see a skeleton that's laying on the ground in, fatigues. And then we get the flashback to the helicopter going down with Dolph Lundgren's character in there. And that
Yes,
was Dolph Lundgren's skeleton, is what it was. It
yeah,
was, you
yeah.
know, I thought that was actually
They
pretty cool.
actually brought the flashbacks kind of full circle for the first time. I know that each season kind of like the flashbacks play into the finale in a lot of ways and lead up to whatever happens in the finale. But in this one, the flashbacks really did come full circle in so many ways. And happy to think that we may have a season without really bad Russian flashbacks next season. And that makes me excited.
I did find it funny that he's on the island, he's supposed to be getting rescued, and he's putting on his old, the tattered clothing and everything, and he throws on a wig.
Yes, yeah.
You remember?
It's like, how did they not know that was a wig?
Yeah, and I just thought that was kind of funny that it was a nod to how bad the wigs are that he's been having. I know that's exactly what it was. They've been reading the message boards, people just going, "What the hell is up with the bad wigs?" And so they finally gave a little nod to that.
Yeah, no, that was great. There wasn't a lot that like so much happened in this episode, but it was all kind of like fighting until this big finale with Prometheus having a knife to Oliver's son's throat and then having a bullet to his head with the dead switch. And I don't know. I felt like this felt a lot like the joke. This just felt like a lot like the Joker to me. Like a lot of Dark Knight, like choose between this thing and that thing, kind of a situation, or what Two-Face might be in the comics. But I don't know. I just felt like this episode finally gave us what we like of Arrow, which is just like all these characters. And I don't know. This was just a fun episode, and it had some lasting impact. Like maybe Merlin's gone, and maybe I don't think that the whole team is dead, but we may have lost some people. The whole island is blown up. Oliver's son knows he exists, so his son is going to be probably a part of the show going forward. My guess is his mom just died, and we're going to have some sort of a rescue, of Team Arrow, or they're going to have to figure out how to get off the island by themselves. Or maybe they're just stuck on the island all of next season. Like that would be crazy. So I just think that there's a lot of possibilities about where this thing is going to go. And after kind of a disappointing season of a lot of the same old thing over and over again, it just seemed refreshing that after this episode. What do you think about that? Do you think we're going to get a new tone after this kind of reset?
No, because I've been hoping for it for 5 seasons now, and it hasn't changed, so it's not going to happen.
So you didn't like season 2, really?
Season 1 was horrible. I mean, it was bad.
Yeah, I didn't love season 1.
And season 2 was a lot better. I mean, it was a lot better. And then season 3 kind of dipped down again, and season 4 went up a little bit, and then we're back down again in season 5.
So you like the even number season. So next season
even numbers.
Yeah. This is just like the first episode of season 6. It's the dip back up for you.
I'm hoping.
So what were some of your highlights of the episode, Dennis? I mean, I've gone on. I really liked this whole thing. What were some of the things that stuck out to you?
Well, we got Manu Bennett back, as Deathstroke, which was cool.
Yes.
You said so good. Boomerang. Captain Boomerang is back. Dolph Lundgren. It's always good to see Dolph Lundgren. We finally got a little closure to that storyline too, and which I still don't understand why he was on that island other than just to screw with them. I mean, that was pretty much all he was there for. And it just that flashback seemed kind of weird, but anyway, it didn't tie into the main plot really in any way. And then also, how did he beat that red junk that got whatever? But anyway, I digress.
I did like the you wouldn't think that he could work with Deathstroke, but I liked the idea that the serum had kind of left him more with his wits, and he's sympathetic to the idea that Oliver wants to save his son and then go find Deathstroke's son, right? So I like that they were able to work it in a seemingly connected way. think about that? I mean, that was a great dynamic that they had this episode.
Yeah, they did a good job. They did a really good job with it. So I had no problem with it.
How about Speedy? I know you don't like Speedy. Did she annoy you a little less throughout the course of this episode?
No, I kind of wish they left her on the landmine, to tell you the truth. Yeah, she's still,
It seems like she doesn't want to be on the show anyway. Like, I thought that she was going to die, actually.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping, but no. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of hers.
So let's just break down then. Where do you think all of this is going? Do you think that there's going to be a resurgence next season with all of these shows, or do you think that they're kind of over the hill with what they've done? Like, I know you've liked Supergirl. They're all very specific, right? Like, I liked The Flash. I liked this episode of Arrow. And there have been some episodes and characters that have stuck out to me with Supergirl. But on the whole, all of this stuff is kind of just like, oh, it's pretty good, right? Like, there's nothing that's really sticking out like some of the early Flash stuff and some of the, like I said, I like season 2 of Arrow a lot. It stuck out to me as some of the best superhero stuff on TV. And now it's kind of like, well, we've got Netflix doing Marvel stuff. We're going to have, I think we counted almost, 24 superhero comic related TV shows next season on TV and streaming services. It's a lot of content that's going to be coming out. And where do you think that this stuff, is going? Do you think that this is still going to be kind of the pinnacle, or do you think this is some of the, is this going to get kind of blown out of the water by some of the other stuff coming up?
It's the peak. I mean, you're going to have a lot of stuff get washed away because it's not good enough. Freeform. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, the freeform stuff will probably, it's again, it's going to be specific for younger teen audiences. As far as the stuff that's geared toward us, I'm curious to see if they can, if they're even willing to change a little bit to up the ante in these shows, or if they're fine just kind of being average TV shows.
It's budget is really what it is. I mean, they can't do anything really huge. They can't really change their cast in any way. So you can't do Walking Dead where you kill off, one of the main characters. You've got 20 main characters now at this point on the Walking Dead. So you kill off one or two a season and then bring somebody else new in to fill the gap. That's the way you do that.
But it's also storyline, right? Like, they don't need to make Arrow about street crime, right? Like Arrow can be a superhero show. They've done it. I mean, that season where they introduced the Trickster and Captain Boomerang and like all these cool villains and had it kind of be a little bit more like one-off episodes, but it was still tied together with an overall threat. Like, that stuff is kind of a good model for the show, and they got away from that somehow.
Well, they want it to be more Batman. They want him to be the Batman.
Create a rogues gallery for him. Fuck, you could bring in the Batman villains if you want. Like, you live in that world. Like,
you can't actually, because they're licensed to Batman.
But Warner owns all of it.
Yeah, I know. But the thing is, the way they do it, it's really stupid. That's the reason why when Supergirl was on CBS, they couldn't do that crossover that they wanted to do with Flash, because Flash was on CW, even though they're both being produced by Warner Brothers.
Specific actor contract. Like, I get that. Like, I get when you have an actor playing a character, you can't just use that same actor with that same character on a different network. Like, I get how that works, but a different version of Two-Face should be able to show up on Arrow without it conflicting with like Gotham, right?
Well,
like, as long as you're not using
Gotham, if Gotham already has that license, even though it's Warner Brothers, it's through Fox, so they don't want to have a competing.
I'm not sure if that's true, but I get what you're saying. I get the idea there. I just think that they could do.
Well, that's the reason why they won't use Grant Justin for the Flash in the movies, because as Warner Brothers put it, the Warner Brothers exec put it, people would get confused.
That's more confusing to not, in my opinion, but whatever. Yeah. I get you. I understand what you're saying. I feel like if they're going to go Batman, then go Batman. Like, don't necessarily use Batman villains, sure. But like, bring in like comic book characters to be the villains in these episodes. Like, have Vigilante be around in the background, have Trickster be around, have Toyman be, or like all these kind of level villains. Just bring them on, like have them on the show. Like,
yeah, my whole
it doesn't have
idea
to
of
be
bringing in
like
Checkmate,
Church.
yeah,
I liked
was
that
a good idea. Yeah, and that's actually where they should go, because they don't have to rely on special effects. They can still tell a really good story and go into espionage, stuff that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was supposed to do and never did.
Yeah. Maybe in the off season we should do a podcast about the top 10 villains we'd like to see show up on episodes of Arrow, because I think that it would just be nice to see more comic book stuff and less just street level. Those are never the comics people love. Like, I guess year one, like mobster stuff, but as far as like most comic book TV and movies, like you want it to be more than that. You want it to be more visually stimulating and more interesting than just like, hey, we're going to go find drugs, drug dealers for 3 episodes in a row, or Russian mobsters or whatever. Like, that's why The Flash is so fun with King Shark and Gorilla Grodd and Weather Wizard. And
you got to remember, that's what Flash was all about in the comics too, is a lot of this grandiose characters, whereas Green Arrow was always street level. He was always fighting drug dealers,
but it was
and mafia.
Political. Like the Green Arrow comics were very political. It was like Robin Hood, right? It was robbing from the poor to give to the rich. Like that was the whole idea of Green Arrow in a lot of ways.
No, it was just to protect the innocent. That's all it was. I mean, he wasn't robbing from anybody.
But everyone has a rogues gallery, right? Like, they come along. Like Green Arrow has a rogues gallery.
Yeah, and they brought some of those guys in. They just haven't named them who they are, And I honestly, I want to see Vigilante come back, and like the true Vigilante, because they just dropped that entire storyline. I mean, they just dropped it completely.
Yeah.
And I was like, what
That's actually interesting. I didn't think about that, because I did like this finale, but they left that dangling. Like what was going on with the whole Vigilante
Prometheus
thing. Yeah.
Anyway. Because they're fighting on the rooftop. Vigilante loses his visor. They pick up the visor. They hack into it because they find out where it's been made, and so they're tracking him back. And then it ended right there. Nothing came out from it. It just disappeared.
I mean, all we can think is that they were staging a fight, and it was either Talia or Artemis. Like one of those guys to throw them off the chase because they knew that they were going to hack into it. I don't know, but. They need to stop that stupid shit too. Just like have the characters be the characters. We don't need this misdirection crap, like Savitar being Barry. Like, these are things that I feel like they want these big reveals, but they're just nonsense, and it's frustrating.
They're lazy.
Like,
they're very lazy.
Okay, so everybody, please subscribe to us on iTunes. It helps us move up the charts a lot. That's what iTunes is based off of. Leave us star ratings and reviews there. You may win some prize packs. Follow me on Twitter. I'm John Reed 16. Dennis is at DeForce. You can follow our official Twitter feed at Nerdrotics, and Melissa, another one of our co-hosts, is at Agent Bossy Boots. Please head over to nerdrotic.com. You can find all of our content over there as well. Subscribe to us here on YouTube. And most importantly, like, just reach out to us. Follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/nerdroticpodcast, and you can leave all of your comments, questions there. We can answer them on our podcast.
And we're also on Instagram too.
Yeah, we're also on Instagram, Nerdrotic on Instagram. Melissa manages that. She does a lot of really fun interactive stuff, so it's a good follow.
And we give away prizes if you comment and follow.
Yeah, basically, if you leave us comments on YouTube or on iTunes, anywhere where it helps us our visibility, you may win a prize. You can listen to the Doctor Who podcast, or we may start giving away on the official Nerdrotic podcast, which we have episode 100 taping this weekend. So stay tuned for that.
100?
Yeah, 100 episodes of the official Nerdrotic podcast. Dennis, anything else you want to say before we head out this week?
Nope. I just want to say, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out, America.
Awesome. Bye, everybody. See you next season.
Good night.